Okay, good day, guys. So, yeah, first things first, I just wanted to check with you guys. See, as I said, keep yourselves on muted. Whenever you need to talk, feel free to unmute and talk. I keep my classes, the way I run my classes, I keep it very open. As in, whenever you find a stopping point where I have stopped or something like that, you can feel free to voice yourself and open your mouth or ask any queries or whatever it is. Okay. So be as friendly as possible. Again, the goal of today's lecture is not to do anything in terms of curriculum wise, but to understand each other, how the lectures will flow, what CMA is all about, what's expected from you guys in terms of, even you're studying, what is expected, what you can expect from us and from me as well. You can ask whatever questions you want. Who am I? Etc. Everything we'll cover that. Okay. From the next time onwards, of course, we were initially planning to start this on the weekend, but I think we realized later on that it is Eid for some people. I'm not sure how many we would have. Surely some Muslim people around, so we didn't want to have the class on Sunday, Saturday or Sunday. I think Eid is on both the days, maybe, or one of the days at least. Right. But yeah, from next week onwards, then it will be starting most likely. I don't know whether any schedule has been rolled out yet to you guys, but it will come out soon as well. Okay. Guys, just another thing. I am seeing some people have, I think they've logged in from their mobile phones. So maybe you have different names. Can you just change your name? Can you just see if that can be changed? I have somebody here, Samsung SM and some model number. And I don't know whether this is a name, but please excuse my ignorance here. I have somebody with the name of HOPPUP. Is that a name? Is that your name? I've asked you to unmute yourself. See, guys, I give you all the liberty to unmute yourselves at any point in time. So you can always feel free to unmute. There's someone called Samsung. Are you able to change your name? Okay, there's no guys, you can hear me, right? So if at any point some y'all cannot hear me, just let me know. Samsung, no response. HOPPUP. I think that's hop up. Just a minute. Guys, can someone confirm you can hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Hop up as well as yeah, cool. Hop up as well as Samsung. Can you just change your name if you can on the? Okay, hop up is already gone. I don't know what's happening. Samsung, is it possible to change your name so that we know each other as well better?
Sir, I'm not really sure on how to change the name.
Oh, okay, okay. At least I got a voice there. That's great. Okay, you're not sure. Even mine comes as RD actually, rather than at least my first name. So I'm not sure, but I thought maybe somebody could tell me also how to do that. But yeah, anyway. Okay, so let's start off with the introductions. I'll first introduce myself, and then you guys can introduce yourselves as well. Again, as I said, the goal of this class will be to know each other, to see how it is, to understand the expectations that you guys can have, what is expected from you as well to clear the exams. Okay, we have more people joining in, which is good. Yeah, so what is expected of you in terms of your CMA, how many hours you would take, what is the effort you would need. Of course, the effort depends on who you are already, as in whether you're a 12th pass or you're already working for X number of years, then that would be the criteria. But today is basically to understand all of that so that we start on the right footing and we don't go wrong in, assessing how we should be doing things on our own. Fair? Okay. So who am I? My name, I'm the co-host over here. Royston D'Souza is my full name. Okay. I am a CPA. I am a CMA as well. And I've been teaching for the last probably 9.5, almost 10 years. Okay. So that's my background. In terms of my that was in terms of education. In terms of my work experience, I worked with Big Fours, I worked with other MNCs. Now I'm basically handling my independent consultancy, where I deal with a little bit of Indian accounting, but more so into US accounting, and then either on the weekends or during like this the evenings or early mornings, I'm basically taking lectures. Okay. Yes. So, and my background is in everything. I worked in financial accounting. I worked with management accounting as well. More so financial accounting. But otherwise, yes, I worked with everything possible. And now, even in my own consultancy, my own setup, I do quite a few things in financial accounting as well as management accounting. Okay, guys. So that's more or less my background in terms of my education, my work experience. Go ahead and please ask me whatever you want in terms of who I am and what you'll need to know else as well. Anybody can start on like anything you'll want to know about me.
So, hi, Shubhra here. Good
Yeah,
evening.
hi Shubhra.
I just want to know what exactly you've been doing in your firm. Like, I want to know exactly what is the work
Yeah,
you've been handling.
I handle US GAAP assignments where I mean basically if I'm working out of India, I basically do US GAAP, and like I have my own setup where if I need employees, I get them on board, but otherwise I generally tend to handle it myself. Okay, and I work into like I outsource work from there, do it over here, give it back to them. I am generally a morning guy, so you'll see me awake more in the morning rather than nights, because when you're supporting US or something like that, you can do it only at one point of time, either the morning or the evening. So I prefer doing it in the morning where I support them. So that's about it. Other than that, I have my teams, my things in India as well, or even the Gulf region where I take lectures quite often during the week as well as on the weekends, depending on what the weekend is for you as well. So I take lectures on the week, like during the week and the weekend. It's just about scheduling my time as to what I need to do when. Okay. As far as the US cap reporting and all, that's more flexible. Lectures are also generally flexible. So one of the things that we also need to discuss on is the timing for your CMA lectures. Okay, which I'll come to a little later. And I wanted to get all of your understanding, at least the people who are here. What I do think is the people who are here will be the people who will be coming for the lectures every now and then. The others might have chosen the recording route, as in, they'll just watch the recordings, get up to speed with it, and go ahead with that, which is not a better option. The better option is to attend the live lectures, because you have me on board, you have other friends where you're making friends as well, and it becomes a little easier to handle the whole experience of CMA as well in terms of the academics too. Fine. Yeah, Shipra, anybody else? If you all want to know more, go ahead, please. You all can ask that during the lecture as well.
So you can continue with the session.
Okay. Okay, cool. So guys, let's introduce yourselves now before we go ahead into what CMA is all about or what the expectations are and all. If I can get your backgrounds first in terms of education and experience, and maybe like anything you'll want to share about yourselves, or maybe some hobbies that you have. My hobbies are I play a lot of sports even now. Sports is generally something that I keep myself fit with. Uh, yeah, that's more or less. I have kind of lost interest in any kind of TV or any kind of things, because I think it does put a lot of time out of your schedule. But yeah, I like playing on the weekends or maybe whenever I get time. Playing any kind of sports, be it. Okay, so that's yeah. So from you all, if you can introduce your names first, your what your educational background is, where you're working, probably how long you're working for, so that I understand the kind of the kind of balance I have in this class in terms of the younger people versus uh, the mid-level people. Fine, in terms of their experiences as well. So yeah, anybody who wants to start with, like as I said, name, your education, your work experience, how long you've been working for, and yeah, any kind of hobbies that you have. Go ahead, please.
Um, my name is Shipra Kulshrestha, and I'm doing my basically I'm pursuing my MBA from Narsing Munji, Hyderabad, and
Okay.
finance only I'm doing. Currently, I'm doing my internship as well with EY, and
Oh,
uh, I have my classes. That is the reason it is very difficult for me at times to cope up with the CMA classes that I was about to ask you, because it is sometimes difficult. But since this course I've been doing, but it is little different. It is not proper whole, like we were studying corporate finance, so they have little portion in CMA of corporate finance. So it
correct.
is getting difficult for me. So part two also I haven't done properly. Part one, yeah, I'm starting it now again. I have done some part of part two. So that is the major problem I'm having.
Okay.
Yeah, that is what it is. Hobbies, I have 1.5 years experience in Praxis services, where I have been handling reservations and all. It was basically reservation sales.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be all. Hobbies is cooking.
Okay, cool. Okay, so just to get some clarification, you said you're doing your MBA, right?
Yes, sir.
And you're relatively new in the work life.
Yes, so actually,
And
I am right now in
okay,
Delhi, and my
okay,
college is in Hyderabad, and
okay,
it is from 9:30 till 5:30, and sometimes it's 8 also, because they have a lot of things. Every day we have to do a lot of things. Because of that, it is very difficult to manage. And this
okay.
class goes from, like, there's no sittings actually, and it is from 6 to 10, and 4 hours matlab, goes very, matlab, it is difficult to cope up in that ways.
Yeah, so that's what I was coming to. So when you said difficult to cope up means, what do you want? Do you want shorter classes? Do you want longer classes? Or is it just you have a very hectic schedule with your with everything going on, and that's why you find it difficult to cope up?
No, sir. Actually, it depends on everybody. I can't give I don't have my personal suggestion, but probably I would need your advice on how I can manage and all, and that would
I
be,
will come to that in terms of number of hours your CMA needs or what you need to do,
yeah.
uh, but I will give it to you on a general note. We will see how you'll have to work on it specifically. Okay, there will be
Mhm.
even internal team members of VGLD who will basically help you chart that out. But yeah,
Yeah.
that is a conversation that we will have shortly in terms of what is the expectations of you from you for your CMA in order to clear your CMA. And yes, I would tell you, like when you're at it, try to be at it. I know life is sometimes difficult when you're doing 3, 4, 5 things at a time, like in your case. But try to be at it, because once you get into these courses, like these international courses specifically, the faster once you've got in, the faster you get out, the better. As in, when I say get out, I mean clear the exams. Does that make sense? Because the longer you take, the more it will tend to drag on and on and on. Does that make sense to you, Shipra?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit in a little bit. So just hold on for that. Yeah. Anybody else who wants to introduce themselves, please?
Yeah, my name is Juzer. Hello, you can
Yes,
hear
I'm
me,
there.
right? Yeah.
Yes, I can hear you.
My name is Juzer, and I am in finance and supply chain since last 20 years, and I
Okay.
resided in Dubai. So basically, I wanted to do the CMA since last 10 years. I was trying out, but due to some reason, some workload and something like, because of that, I could not determinedly do this thing. So that's the reason I latched out, and now I thought of doing it, completed it, my these things. So that's the reason I joined CMA and wanted to complete my CMA for that.
Cool. So already we have a diverse crowd where we have one person with 20 years of experience and probably another person with what, a year and a half, I think you said. But that was into sales, right, Shipra?
Yes, sir. Reservation sales.
Okay. So Zuzar, just to understand more, any kind of hobbies or anything else you want to tell us about your career?
Hobbies are like I love traveling, and second thing, I read some books. That's it. Go for digging out the research and knowledge. That's it.
Great. So
Okay.
traveling means as in vacation and all that.
As in vacation, yeah, that's right.
Okay, yeah, we all love that, of course. Yeah, guys, anybody else wants to go ahead?
Hello, sir.
Yeah, hi,
My name
is
is
Jayanti. Okay. I can't hear you.
I
There's
have
some
passed
background
in,
sound. Sorry, say that again.
I have passed in graduation in 2022.
Okay.
Hello. I am fresher right now.
Okay. Go ahead.
My
So are you
hobby
working
is
somewhere?
no, sir.
Okay, so you're planning to do CMA a little bit of full time, which is okay, that's in your favor, but you can also start a job and the team will also help you on that. Yeah, go ahead. You were saying your hobbies are?
My hobbies are reading a book,
Okay.
novels.
Okay, good. Anything else? Jayanti, anything else?
No, sir.
Not sure, can't hear you. Okay, cool. No worries, great. So, yeah, I think we have one more person. I do not know whether I'm pronouncing the name right. Umaima, am I pronouncing your name right?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, my name, you're correct. You're spelling it, you're pronouncing it correctly.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
I have been into finance and administration since last 20 years. I'm done my bachelor's and of course been in Dubai since 20 years plus.
Okay.
Hobbies basically is cooking, traveling, reading,
Okay.
and some outdoor sports as at times, but do not get the time to do that.
You don't have the time to do that. Okay, so you're pretty okay. So we have, like, as I said, we have a diverse crowd here. Two people who are reasonably mid-level to even senior level people. The other two are basically just starting their career. So there's a good diverse mix here. What I guys, you'll need to mute yourselves when you're talking. Keep yourselves unmuted as much as possible. That's fine because I want participation. Okay, but when you are not talking, just try to just mute yourselves because that will help. There is a lot of background sound from a couple of people. Okay, yeah, so that would help. Yeah, so the diverse crowd is great. Okay, guys, so let me just share something to you and then we can see how we want to move forward. Okay, fair enough. Has an Excel file come on board?
Yes, sir.
1 minute, something has opened up here. Yeah. Okay, guys. So firstly, welcome to CMA. We are starting part 1, as you all know now. Today, what we want to cover, the introduction, which you all know about me. Anything more, anything pops up today, you all can ask that. No problem at all. Okay, my introduction, what is CMA? Okay, what is covered in CMA part 1? I'm sure the full form everybody knows, Certified Management Accountant. We'll have your Q&A session at the end of it for the last maybe 20-30 minutes. So get all your queries in order. If you have any sort of queries from a faculty standpoint, please do go ahead and ask me. I don't know whether anybody else is there who's part of the team. I think, yes, there is a person who's part of the team. Maybe the procedural aspects, they can cover it. And then whatever miscellaneous points like we have, like timing, the days of the week that are preferable for you all. on the classes, etc., we can discuss that as well. Okay, and then we'll take a wholesome view as to what needs to be done. Okay, but your classes, your regular classes will start from the next week. As I said, this week we have Eid either on Saturday or Sunday. So we'll keep that open for people so that we don't need to come on that day. And then after that, next week we will start. Fine. So we're done with intro. We're going to understand what is CMA, what is covered in part 1, your Q&A session, miscellaneous points. So let's get to the intro part first. Okay, we've done our intro. Now, the first point that you'll see is the way I run my lectures, guys. So as I said, I keep it open in terms of you all talking as well. So any point here that you'll need further clarification, etc., you all can feel free to unmute and talk whenever I stop talking or there's a stopping point or something like that. Fine. Now, CMA is considered to be a 500 to a 600 hour course in total. So if you study regularly, and when I mean 500 to 600 hours, it's regularly. It's not like 1 week you do it, then 2 weeks you don't do it, and then again another week you do it, then another 1 week you don't do it. It's not like that. If you're studying regularly, probably even better if you're studying daily, and I'll come to it as to how many hours you need to put in. It's roughly a 500 to 600 hour course. Now, of course, we have two people who are very, very senior in their careers. They've probably handled finance, financial accounting, management accounting for the last 20 or 20 plus years. In that case, what would happen is you're more on the 500 end of the scheme, maybe even little lesser than 500. Okay, if you're on the flip side of it, like, the other two who are relatively newer in their careers, you'll have to put in a little more effort, of course, because you need to understand the concepts better. You need to basically do things that are in your favor. Okay, so you will probably need a little more number of hours in comparison to the other. Now, whatever I say over here in this whole section is basically very general. Okay, so now if you're a person who thinks that you can do it in lesser number of hours, fair enough. If you need 700 hours or 750 hours as well, do not shy away from it. There is no problem in taking long. The CMA exam will not ask you as to how many months you studied for, weeks or hours you studied for. They are going to just test you on the marks. Whether did you make the marks, did you pass, did you not pass? Number of hours are basically irrelevant. But what I need to tell you all is the expectation that we need to set or you need to set for yourselves. Okay, now obviously depending on some strengths and depending on some workload that you have handled over the last 1 year or maybe even 20 years, each part would take you roughly around 250 to 300 hours. Okay, there could be some topics where you'll need to put in more effort. There'll be other topics which will be slightly maybe easier for you. Now, if you have heard from most of your people whom you've spoken to earlier prior to coming on board, you would have heard that this is a 6 to 7 months course, right? How do we get that 6 to 7 months? Any idea? If we do 20 hours a week, the goal for you is to understand that you need to do around 20 hours a week. Okay, if you do 20 hours a week into roughly around 26 weeks, you're getting to your number of 500 or 600. Does that make sense? It works out to around 520. Guys, yes?
Yes,
Guys,
sir.
yes? Okay. So, right. So if you work for, and this has to be consistent, as I said, if you're studying for 1 week, then not studying for 2 weeks and all that, then this really does not apply. You will have to be consistent, or so roughly around 26 weeks into 20 hours. Now, some people would say, okay, like somebody was saying they are at home now. Excellent. Instead of putting 20 hours a week, you can probably put even 25 or 30 hours a week, unless you're going to start working now. Okay, you can even put 25 to 30 hours a week. What will happen is you can still keep this at the 26 week mark, but you will have stronger base for yourself. Or you can even try to advance it and give the exams a little faster. Guys, yes, does that make sense for you all?
Yes, sir.
Now, on the other hand, say somebody is working, couple of people are really working, they can't get 20 hours a week. They are getting only maybe 10 hours or 12 hours a week. It's simple. The number of weeks expand, whether it's 26 or maybe 28 or 30 or maybe more than that. Then in that case, then it takes you also, instead of taking 6 or 7 months, it would roughly take you more than that, maybe 8, 9, 10 months. But the goal is to complete this as soon as you can. Fine. So 26 weeks into 20 hours roughly. And when I say these 20 hours, I'm including the class time as well. I'm including the class time, I'm including your reading time, your MCQ time, essays time, which I'll take up in a little bit. Right? You have 2 parts to your CMA, part 1, part 2. Roughly, as I said, these are the number of hours you'll take. The type of testing now that they cover. The type of testing is basically MCQs and essays. I'm sure you'll all know what is an MCQ. In your testlet, you will have basically 100 MCQs will come up. You will have 100 MCQs that you need to deal with. Yes, 100 MCQs roughly will take you approximately 3 hours. 100 MCQs will roughly take you around 3 hours. Your essays, you will get 2 essays, and that will you'll have roughly around 1 hour to complete the essays. Now, what is an essay? I'll come to it a little later, but the essay is not the Indian essay that you see. It's a lot different from the Indian essay. Okay, so types of testing, MCQs and essays. Testlets, you'll get 2 testlets basically, one for MCQs where you'll have 100 MCQs that you'll have to solve, and then you'll have essays, which are 2 essays. Split of the number of hours goes for MCQs, it'll take you 3 hours. For essays, it'll take you 1 hour, right? Now, software. I don't know how many of you all have got access to the software. Have you all already got access to the software? When I say software, I mean Becker software.
Yes, actually, I got the access. I tried it.
Okay, cool. Cool. What about the others? Uma, if
Yes, sir. We have already got the access for
okay,
Becker.
great. So you would have got that. I don't know how many of you all have seen through it. I think somebody said they've already done a little bit of part 2. So I'm sure they would have gone through it, and they would have had some kind of a thing. Otherwise, we will go through it a little bit today as well, if we get the time back. Okay. Otherwise, the next lecture. Okay. Now, what is your Saturday to Sunday plan? So what I suggest is, whenever you come for an essay, whenever you come for a class rather, I want you to be completely blank. Okay. No need of reading the book, no need of doing any MCQ, no need of doing any essay before you come for the class. Now, of course, you would ask me like, hey, I've done my BCom, or I've been working for the last 10 years, 20 years, as the case may be. I already have a background of CMA. That is fine. Absolutely. Okay, that is fine. But do not go ahead and read the textbook, or try to do something on your own. Okay, the goal is very, very simple. My one question to all of you is it easy to learn, or is it easy to unlearn and then relearn? Guys, have you all understood my question?
Easy to learn it is.
Okay. Anybody else? I'll repeat the question if you all want. Is it easy to learn, or is it easy to unlearn and relearn?
Easy to learn.
Cool. Yeah. So more or less, I think we all will say that it's easy to learn rather than unlearn and relearn. So what might happen is, if you're going through the textbook, what will happen, I'll tell you. You'll be a little ahead of the class. Sometimes you already know these things, because CMA is something that some portion of CMA you would have done in your BComs or MComs or whatever you guys have studied in the past, or even learned at your workplace. However, if you read the book, you'll be a little ahead of the class, while the others would not be able to, match your pace. Secondly, if you may get a few things right, you might get most things right as well if you read it on your own. But what I can tell you is, the things that you get wrong, you will have basically a problem of unlearning and relearning, and that is not very easy. It's not easy for me, but it's moreover even more difficult for you, okay, to unlearn and relearn. So what I would suggest is you'll come completely blank for the lecture. Once the lecture is over, then your action plan comes into being. Now, I call this a Sunday to Saturday plan, but it depends on when the lectures are. Okay. Now, say today's lecture is on a Wednesday, but of course, we are not doing curriculum. Whenever the next lecture is, what will happen is once the lecture is over, you can go ahead and basically your first thing that you can do is you can, if you want to go through the video again, that's up to you. So probably the first thing might be the video. I don't think it is particularly necessary to go through this video again, but otherwise that is reasonable. You know, some concepts might be a little tougher for you than based on your background or something like that. So you may want to go through the video. Okay, the video might come to you only after 24 to 48 hours. Again, that's a little bit of a challenge. Okay, but otherwise, if the video is not there and you don't need to look at the video, which I generally tell people that they should not be looking at the video. Okay, for the full video at least. Okay, that is if they've not watched the lecture, if they've not come for the live lecture, then so after the video, you'll basically go through the textbook, for example. Okay, once you're a little bit okay with the textbook, or maybe there's some topics where you'll say, hey, you know, this is very easy, let me not read the textbook, or I have less time and I know that it is very easy, let me not read the textbook. That's also absolutely fine. If you're comfortable with it, then do it that way. After you read the textbook, then for example, you go to the MCQs. Okay, you go to the MCQs. Now, what I tell most people is when you get something, you go to the MCQs. When you get some MCQs right, or more importantly, when you get them wrong, try to basically benchmark it with the textbook. Does that make sense to you? So that what happens automatically when you're doing this is you will get a stronger understanding of the textbook by just benchmarking it to the textbook. Whether it's right, and definitely if it's wrong, you try to benchmark it to the textbook. When you benchmark it, automatically you'll see that your understanding of the textbook is also increasing. So that's why I say sometimes if you're comfortable with whatever is there and whatever has been covered over the class, it's an easy topic for you. You can even skip this factor, because why? When you get something right or wrong, you're anyway going back to the textbook. Guys, does that make sense, what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so keep that as a plan. Now you have, after that you have essays. Now, if this is your first part, I would tell you just hold on for the essays a little bit, because the essays need a little deeper understanding. So once you're comfortable with the MCQs and all that, then you should go to the essays. So once, when I say comfortable, you don't need to get everything right to go to the essays, but you should. We are not used to the MCQ system. Now, I don't know how many of you all would have given a US exam or given an MCQ exam. What we generally do in the Gulf region or in India and all that is we go through the textbook and we give descriptive answers. This is anything but descriptive. Okay, including the essays, actually, they are not descriptive, which I'll just take in a little bit. Right. So basically, if I would say if your class is, I'm just taking this as a random example, the timetable is not out, but I'm taking this as a random example. Say your class is on Sunday, right? On Monday, you could probably go ahead and read the textbook. On Tuesday to maybe Thursday or Friday, you could probably do the MCQs. You can pop into the video whenever possible. Tuesday to Friday, you can possibly try to do the MCQs. Okay. Then after that, maybe on a Saturday or something like that. But as I said, give yourself 2, 3, maybe even 4 weeks to get into the system before you start essays. Once you're comfortable with the MCQs, then you can do whatever topics were covered, you can do the essays one by one for all the topics. Okay. So as I would say your lecture is on Sunday. I'm just taking that because that is the leftmost thing that is there. Sunday is your lecture. You can go ahead on Monday and read the textbook. Maybe Tuesday to Thursday or something like that. You can do the MCQs Thursday or Friday. Saturday again do the essays. Sunday again come back for the lecture, and the cycle starts again and again and again. Then whatever you need to periodically revise, that you can fit in on any day that you need. Say one topic was tough, say maybe whatever section A, topic 8 was tough, for example, then yeah, whenever you need to revise it, you can fit in from the Saturday to Sunday at any point in time. Fine? Guys,
Yes,
yes,
sir.
no? Okay, we've covered about 4, 5, 6 lines or something like that. Any kind of queries?
So, the course would end up in this, like, how long this would go, course for part 1?
See, that depends on the number of hours we have, which we are yet to schedule, and we'll talk about that. But roughly, roughly we will need approximately maybe around 85 to 90 hours per part.
A month or 2 months?
Okay, if you're talking about a month, it generally runs to approximately maybe 5 months or so. But that depends on how many hours you can devote, also for the class.
For part 1, it is for both the parts, right?
Yes, I'm talking about both the
Uh,
parts. Around
so
5
for
months.
part 1, I'm asking just for part 1,
You
like
can just
this
divide it by
classes
2. You can just divide it by 2. Roughly, it comes to the same thing. Even
3
here, see,
months.
I've divided everything by 2. So if you see, it's roughly around that itself. Both parts are equally important. One might be a few pages more than the other, but that doesn't make that more difficult than the other. It's roughly around the same number of hours that you'll need.
This MCQ and ACCA, these are actually of part 1 and part 2, or in part 1 only both of them are there?
In each part, both of them are there. Let me put
In
it like
each
that.
part.
Yes.
Acha, acha. Okay.
I will drive that in a little bit. Just hold a little. See,
Yeah.
if you see, I said testlets. You have, I mean, I'm just calling them testlets, but otherwise you can call them sections or whatever. Let's call them. Let's do one thing. Let's actually call them exam sections rather than testlets. Exam sections might be easier for you. So exam sections, what happen in section 1? You'll see MCQs will open up. There'll be 100 MCQs. You have to do them one by one. You can do them in any order, whatever you want. Okay. In terms of essay, then after that you will get essays, there will be 2 essays that you need to cover. Right. And this is for each part in both. Fair? Any other questions, guys, before we go forward?
No, okay, clear. Thanks.
Okay, so what we would focus on now, essays are something that, see, once you have, see, what I do always is I focus on concepts. Okay, concepts. I drive the concepts as to how the concept should be, what your understanding should be. That's why I told you all, better to come without reading the book rather than this. And honestly, that reading the book is something that you will see only applicable in the first 1 or 2 lectures. Like now you would have got the book, you would have wanted to, open it. I mean, everybody is there, right? Like if somebody tells you not to open it, our first thing will be like, hey, should I open the book and, read maybe 4 or 5 pages? Okay, but that will happen only in the first 2 lectures. Okay, what happens after that? You basically have so much of work here to do, like read the text. I mean, video, I'm not really going to catch up on, because video, what I believe is generally for most of the topics, if you're sitting for the live class, you should not need the video. Okay, other than maybe for markings or something that you want to do, you should not need the video. But this itself will take you so much of time on your Saturday to Sunday, especially if you're working and all, that you will not have time to read the book further on. Does that make sense? Guys, yes?
Yes,
No?
yes.
Okay, so this is more
Sir.
applicable just for the first 1, 2, maximum 3 lectures if you're ahead of the curve. Automatically after that, you'll start being with the curve. What I would tell you is try to be with the curve or with me rather than be behind me, because the more you're behind me, the more you face trouble later on in terms of closure. Closure of what? Closure of your portion, closure of giving the exam, getting an ROI on your investment, whether it's the investment made to VG learning or your investment for the exam as well, and your membership and all those things that you're going to do. Guys, yes, no, does that make sense? So your goal has to
Yes.
be, now I've already gotten how can I move out of here? Move out as in get my certification, pass my 2 exams, and then get my ROI on that. Fine. Yeah. So somebody I think was trying to say something.
Sir, actually, I have one query. I have
Mhm.
been said that this query is regarding IMA membership.
Okay.
So initially over the group, everybody knows this, I guess, in the group, they said that the last date is 15th April. So we were asking to revert, so nobody was reverting from VGLD. And when I enrolled for VGLD, they said that there is a discount which they used to give to students. And then now, like 2-3 days before, they said that we would be getting mail from IMA itself, where there would be discount coupons and everything. But till now, there is no mail, nothing which I have received, and
See,
everybody has the same
See, I
issue.
wouldn't know the timelines as to what it is, but what I can tell you is before every exam window, okay, the IMA rolls out some the discounts. Okay. Now, that if your exam, it depends on when your exam is, okay, when you're scheduling your exam, because there's no point in taking the membership and all very early, or paying for your entrance and all very early, because ultimately uh, I don't know whether I'm right on this, but I think the IMA gives you once you're a member, they give you only 3 years to complete your CMA. Now, of course, 3 years is a long enough time. We are talking about 6 months here, but I mean, there are people who get busy with work or something or the other, and they unfortunately get into the threshold where the 3 years are coming up. So I mean, I would suggest do your membership and entrance and all at the right time. What are the procedures involved in that? I think that was Shipra who asked me that. So what are the procedures involved in that, and when the IMA actually sends it? What are the dates they come up with? I would not know. Okay, you'll have to ask your coordinator. For some people, it would be Bulbul, but I think I have Dipen on the. Oh, Dipen is not there anymore, is it? Dipen, are you still on this call?
Sir, I've been trying to contact Bulbul, and there is no revert. And today, PGLD also called me and asking for membership and all.
Okay.
So I told them the issue. Then they said, "Okay, I'm just the person was saying that okay, I'm disconnecting. You have to speak with directly with Bulbul." But when I'm trying to speak with her, if there is no process or anything, it should be conveyed. That is what my issue is, and there is no person now to
Mhm.
communicate all of this. That is the
No,
reason
I'll
I'm
tell
telling.
you,
Like,
I'll give you a little bit of background. Okay, I may not be fully right on this, but for the last, I think, couple of weeks or something, Bulbul's father has been in the hospital. Okay, he's critical. And what I heard from someone, and this might be wrong, but I heard approximately around maybe 2, 3, or 4 days back, I don't remember the day, that he's also passed away. Okay, so give her that little bit of time on this. I don't really, her boss is Dipen. Okay, her boss is Dipen. I know VG as well himself. So what I can do is I can put a note that people are still looking for this information to VG tonight after the lecture.
yeah, yeah,
Okay, I'll
that
put
is
a
what.
note to him directly, but honestly, her father has passed away right now. So, and that was maybe about, I don't know, 4 days back or maybe more. I'm not sure on the timelines. Okay, but yes, I do know that something was there. So it was a very critical situation for her. I don't even know whether she's back actually in the office. Does anyone know whether she's back?
Yeah, yeah. She only actually sent us these things, invite, meeting invite. She
No,
only
no.
initiated.
See, sending the invite, she would definitely have to do it, because there are some
Yeah,
responsibilities that are only assigned to her, and nobody else can do that.
but
So
I think
those,
it is now it has been normalized, I believe, because
Acha,
Depend
it
is
is
also
normalized.
now Depend
Okay.
is also now responding. Depend has responded and everything has been clarified according to me what he has communicated to me, because
Uh,
they were having even Depend was having some
yeah.
issues.
So
That's the
Dipen,
reason.
yes. So Shipra, just to give you an idea, Dipen is Bulbul's boss. You can anytime talk to him. His wife was recently operated as well, just at the
Yeah,
same
that's
time when Bulbul's father had all these issues, and maybe he passed away. I'm not sure. Okay, because I've not heard it from her, and even I didn't hear that from VG. Okay, so Yeah, where was I? Yeah, his wife also was in the hospital and she was operated. And I think she's just come home yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. I spoke to VG last night and he told me that she's just come home yesterday. I think everything is good. I mean, recovery is still there, of course, but everything has worked out well. So they have been a little bit on the rough end of the health issue. So give them the time. You can always talk to them. If you want, from my side, I can put a note to VG saying that, hey, you know what, there are some people who are still looking for it. But as Zuzar, I think if your name is right, I hope I'm pronouncing that right again. But yeah, as he was saying, if they've responded to him, I'm sure they'll respond to you as well. Just pick up the phone and try to talk to them at a business hour. That should, I mean, at least Bulbul at a business hour if she's back. Otherwise, you can talk to, I mean, Dipen is generally open right throughout.
Sir,
And
I don't have
any
Dipen
reason,
sir's number.
uh,
Probably I'll ask somebody.
just ask someone in
And
the organization or who enrolled you in.
yeah, I was telling that only, and I don't know about
Ask
sir,
them.
this Juzer sir. I think he was not in part two. We were in the part two, and
Yeah, he's recently
there are a
enrolled.
lot of, yeah, there are a lot of the people who were in that part.
Mhm.
Those students are not in this part, and I am here, and we used to conversate because it's fine that if they are having any family issue, it's fine. But then if you're conveying something that it is the last date, and you're not telling now that what is the way, what is not. There are 60, 70 students who are waiting
Fair.
for the reply. Just one reply, I think
No,
it
it
could
in
happen
fact.
because that time,
Mhm. Okay, sorry. No, go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead. It's okay.
Yeah, so that is what I was saying, because even every day we are asking the same thing, IMA mail would come or not, because for me it is also first time I'm giving exam. I don't know whether just before exam we can enroll or not. If this
You
is the
can.
case, there should be proper communication. That's what I'm asking. If
You.
there is issue, anybody on stand of Bulbul or on stand of Dipen sir could revert or mail that for now, this is the issue, give us some time or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, see, I understand that, and see, I also got that from one or two people. And I spoke to VG actually, and then he actioned some things. I don't know what he actioned and what came on the group. But I made him aware that there is something going on the CMA group, and that's when he basically did something. But again, as I said, I can't. I mean, I don't ask him what is his response and what was done on the group, but I just tell him that, hey, some groups are having a problem or something is going on. Just please take a look. So he'll
Yes,
have
sir,
his way
that's
of taking a look, and I don't know, something might have come up on your group later on. Maybe somebody would have told you that it didn't appear that they were. I mean, they were in hospital. They had health issues and severe health issues rather, not just health issues. But yeah, Shipra, let me ask you this one question. When are you planning your exams? Which month?
this
Are you giving anything in May, June?
June I'm planning, sir.
June, you're planning which part two?
Part one I'll go for, since I'm on internship, so probably I'll try for part two as well. But part one, so for sure I'll try this time only.
In June, we are in April. How are you going to do it by June?
Sir,
Both parts you'll try by June.
no, we have some recorded sessions also, since part one is going right now. So I
Uh,
would, with these classes, I would try to do, and whatever the rest would be there, I would do some recordings and all. Because
see,
after I join the
okay.
college, I don't have time and all, and I at least want to do my part one or any of the parts, because next year I would be joining my uh, interviews for job and all,
Next
placement
year, so
session would
after
go.
12 months. After 12 months.
No, sir, this after June, my college would start. So I have to
Okay.
add all of it on my resume so that it could give me an edge, or there would be some certification on my CV. So my target is at least for in June, part one, I have to complete.
Okay, I don't know whether the classes will be complete by then, so I don't know how you're going to do it. Yeah, you'll have to do some via the classes and some via the recordings then, in that case. Because otherwise it
Yes.
seems to be that you're cutting things a little too fine, okay? Maybe somebody from the team should actually discuss with you what your plan is. But if you're at home right now, and that's what I understood based on your introduction, then yes, it is possible, but I still think you're cutting it fine. Okay, because you have
Yeah.
you said you're a graduate plus you're only 1 year of experience or something, right? And that too into sales or something, if I'm
1.5, yes,
correct.
sir.
Yeah, so sales does not give you accounting experience as well. So I do think you're cutting it fine. Is it possible for you to give it in June? Yes, it is, because you're not working. Are you still working, doing that internship and all that?
Yes, sir, but that is work from home. This is the time
How
where
many
I can
hours?
give my
How many hours?
it is depends on project. So if we have project 2, 3, 4 hours, probably 5 hours every day,
A
and
day.
Saturday, Sunday is off. Yes, sir.
Okay, so unless if you're the person that can do it for 12 hours a day, like how CAs study and all, then it's a different matter. But otherwise, you're cutting it a little fine. Okay, to be honest, you're cutting it a little fine. Try to revisit your plan. See whether you're able to do 500 or 600 hours in the two months that you're talking about. Or rather, maybe for one part, if you're doing one part, see whether you can do 250 or 300 hours. You will be more on the side of 300. Sometimes when you're just a graduate or 12th standard pass or something, you might not even need 300, you might need 350. Okay, now that's a judgment call that you will have to take. Okay, I can give you these general guidelines, but these are the judgmental call that I know people who've done it in less than 250 hours as well. Okay, but
Yes,
they were
sir.
already chartered accountants or something like that. Or maybe someone like a year, like we have 20 years of experience or something like that. So this is easy, they're breezing through it and all that. So they give it even in less than 200 hours. But that's a call
Uh,
that you will have to take. We cannot take
mm,
that for you.
I
But
I want
based
to
on
ask
what you,
you,
yeah, go
mhm,
ahead.
sir, if that is the case, and probably it would be better for me to go for part 2, right, for June month, because I have done
That
like
is what I was
50% on that.
That is what I was going to suggest to you. But then since you were gung ho on part one, but then you also have to understand one thing. When you're coming for my lectures and doing this Saturday to Sunday plan, you're going to be studying part one. Otherwise, what will happen is, yes, you study for part two. And then what will happen with part one is you'll attend all the lectures, but beyond a point, you might not remember anything. Because why?
That
You've
is
not
the
done these
reason.
things. You've not
That is
done
the
these
reason I
things.
was. Yes, that is the reason I wanted to go for part 1, because whatever I
Yeah.
have done on part 2, it's fine. But this would start from the beginning and it would be like scheduled properly.
Okay.
That
Okay.
is the
Let me
reason I
let
wanted
me
to go
break
for
this
part
down further. Let me break this down further for you. Okay. This 26 into 20 for all of you all. It applies to all of you all. You need, I said 26 weeks. Forget the 26 weeks. Let's talk about the 20 hours. You need 20 hours now. Right? You need 20 hours. Okay, 1 minute. What happened here? Guys, can you all see me, hear me? Just can somebody confirm?
Yeah, yeah.
two.
We
Yes, sir.
cannot see
Okay.
you, but we
Oh,
can
you
hear.
cannot see me. Okay, that's what I thought something happened. I don't
But
know.
the Excel sheet is there.
1 minute. Now
Yeah,
can you
that's
see
good.
me? Ah, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, fine. Now it's come. I don't know what I did, but yeah, something. Okay, fair. Let's break down the 20 hours. You have a weekend on the 20 hours, right? You have the weekdays, okay, and a weekend, right? So let's take, there are 5 weekdays here for y'all, and there are 2 weekends. Now, is 20 hours simple to do or no?
Yeah, if you're giving 4 hours for mm,
4 hours
five
every day,
hours,
5 hours
five
every day.
hours,
That makes it
4
30 hours,
days.
35 hours rather,
Yeah,
right?
4 hour, 5 hours, 4 days.
Okay, now Shipra, you have to understand something more. When you're trying to crunch your CMA and try to do it in 2 months, you might have to put more than 20. Does that make sense? Also,
Yes, sir.
yeah. So let me break this down, this 20 hours. You have 5 weekdays and you have 2 weekends. If you're 6 and 1, then you can break it down as you need. So say even if you do 1 to 1.5 hours in each of these 5 days, how much do you make? 7.5 hours. 5 to 7.5 hours. Maybe if you're lucky, you can do 2 hours. You make 10 hours here itself. Yes.
So
Now, in the balance 2 days that you have, can you make the balance 10 hours? Maybe you can even make 15 hours if you're studying for 7.5 hours a day. And remember, this 20 hours, I said, this includes class time that you're I mean, not the orientation lecture, but the other lectures. Okay.
okay.
So this includes the class time. So is 20 hours achievable in a week? Yeah, absolutely. But you need to drive it. Whether you do 1 hour every, like on the weekdays, maybe 1.5 or maybe even 2 hours on the weekdays. That depends on what kind of a job you have, what kind of work profile you have, and how much of time you have. Apart from your professional and personal responsibilities, how much of time you have. Okay, people who are senior would have even personal responsibilities. For people who are younger, they may not have as many personal responsibilities at least. Right? So even if you do say 1.5 hours, let me take average 1.5 hours, we make it 7.5 here. Right? We make it 7.5. Can we put in the balance 12.5 hours? You can just do the maths. There. And then you can see what you can come up with. Do you need to make sacrifices? Absolutely, you'll need to make sacrifices. Whether it's on a weekday, you may have to get up early, you may have to sleep late, whatever works for you. If you're a morning person, night person, whatever it is. On the weekends, again, would you have to make sacrifices? Yeah, rather than going out with your friends or going out with other families, depending on where you are in the life cycle, you'll have to make sacrifices on your weekends as well in order to achieve what this is. But ideally, if you do 20 hours a week, you should be wrapping this up in 6 to 7 months. Around that time. Now, some people may do it faster, other people may take even 8-9 months, whatever it is. So does that make sense now, Shipra? I mean, can you compartmentalize and see what you need? So basically, your net goal should be, can I do 350 hours? I'm just saying 350 because of the fact of your background. Can I do 350 hours in these 2 months? So you have 60 days, 350 hours, you do the math. If it's 2 months away. Does that make sense to you? And then if you're doing part 2, which you're 50% in already, you'll have to basically take into account that you're doing a little bit of most of part 2, but you're also keeping in touch with part 1, because otherwise part 1 you'll completely forget. Both in 2 months, I don't think it's reasonable. Because ultimately, look, you're paying a decent amount for the exams. You should give it a good shot. Whether you clear or not, that's a different matter, but you should give it a good shot. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, sir. I'll give a good shot, but
Give it a think. Give it a think. See, all these are general guidelines. You may be above the curve as well. You may be much smarter than another CMA person who's of your age or something like that, right? You might be a lot more smarter than that, depending on what you scored in your 10th, 12th, BCom and all that. So that's a judgmental call. Again, you'll need to take. What I am doing here today is basically giving you all an overall idea or a strategy. You need to make your plan. Does that make sense? Do we understand the difference between strategy and plan?
yes, sir.
Strategy is what broad guidelines of how you should go about it. Now, plan is made by the individual themselves. Hey, I have so many hours. On my weekdays, I have no time at all. I'm going to study for 12 hours a day on the weekend and try to make it because I have to do it in 6-7 months. Does that make sense? Somebody's plan could be like that as well. They have no time on the weekdays. I'm going to study for 12 hours or 15 hours every day on the weekend. I'm not going to go out anywhere. I'm going to cut it out. Cut out all my this. So that kind of thing, that's just personally, you have to plan it. Personally, you have to sacrifice. You know yourself better. That's what you need to do. Fine. Are we okay with the 20 hours?
Yes, sir.
So again, so don't take this. See, if you're better than the curve, you believe you're better than the curve, be strong and go for it. But understand what is the overall big picture so that you can drive your own small pictures, small plans, and make them the overall plan. Yes?
Yes, sir.
Guys, any other queries? Okay, what would we focus on? If any other queries, let me know. What we would focus on, as I said, I drive the class with the concepts. I want you all to be absolutely clear with the concepts. Okay. So in my class, the focus would be the concepts, whether I drive it via Excel or PDF or PowerPoint or even directly from the textbook, it does not matter. But I will be going through the concepts. Okay. Once you understand the concepts, it's your baby to basically go ahead and strengthen your concepts by these two areas. If you need to use this, use it. But I don't think that should be most of the times not applicable. But you need to do this. Once your concepts are okay, or if you feel it is so easy that I can directly jump to the MCQs, but when you get it right or wrong, keep the text. I mean, when you're doing an MCQ, don't look at the textbook. When you get it right or wrong, try to look at the textbook and cross check. Does that make sense? Guys, yes, no?
Yes, yes.
Right? And then essay specifically, if you're new, it's your first part. What I would tell you, just hold on for about 2-3 weeks, understand the system. Most of you all will not be used to the system, the US system. So you need to understand the system first and then go to advanced versions like essays, etc. Guys, make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's
Cool.
right.
Additionally, what you need to know, any study session, do not focus on your timing and your accuracy. Does anyone know what that means? In any US exam, what happens? In Indian exams, what happens? We study for the whole year round. Ultimately, we give an exam and then we get the result, right? Pass, fail, 35 or 40 or fail. Correct? Guys, yes, no? Can you all, everybody agrees to that?
Yes, I agree.
So in any Indian or Gulf related exams, there is no way that you can check yourself step by step on how you're progressing on day 1, day 5, day 30, day 60, day 90, whatever it is. Does that make sense? You are only waiting, you're just mugging up, and then giving it all out at the exam. When do you know your results? After you get your mark sheet. What is happening in US exams? Everything has a timeline. Everything is recorded. When you get an MCQ wrong or right, suppose you've done 10 MCQs, your dashboard will basically show you that, hey, I've got 30% right, 20% right, 40% right. Does that make sense? Guys, yes, no?
Yeah.
So what is going to happen is, hey,
Yes, sir.
passing marks are so much, but I'm getting only 20% or 30% or 40%. What should I do? Am I not good enough? Look, the answer is it's not about you being not good enough. It's about you being through the system of all of this. Automatically, what is going, and why I say timing here, obviously you need to solve 100 MCQs. These are 100 MCQs in 3 hours. So while you can do the math there, and you for every MCQ you have less than 2 minutes, that means, right? But you can do the maths for that. But when you're doing your homework, classwork, whatever you'll see, there are some MCQs where I give you all 3 minutes, 5 minutes, even 10 minutes. What is the goal? To understand everything, to get your concepts clear. So even if you take 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, when you're doing an MCQ at home or in class, don't bother. Even if you get 20, 30%, 20% will be rare, but more when you start off, you'll see you're within the 30 to 40% category. You're not even hitting passing marks. What will happen is, as you get into the system, lecture 1, lecture 2, lecture 5, you'll see that 30, 40% may be becoming 40, 50. Then it may be becoming 50, 60. Once it hits a threshold where you're comfortable, say it's hitting 80, 85 and all that, and you've given a mock test, that's the time you give your exam. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right? So a
Yeah.
lot of you will look at the dashboard and say, I'm going to get, hey, I'm getting only 30%, 35%, 40%, not acceptable. What should I do? I'm panicking and panic. That's only because you don't know the US system. If understand one thing, if you were already in your first lecture, you're already getting 80%. Would you even need Becker? Would you need VGLD? Would you need me? Would you need any of all this? You just walk into the exam, give the exam and pass the exam. Why do you need classes? You don't need anything, right? Then in that case. Guys, yes, no?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now, the longer you're in the system, understand my statement. The longer you're in the system, accuracy will keep on increasing. Timing per question will keep on decreasing. Absolutely. Everybody gets that?
Yes, that's right.
So the moment you realize, hey, I'm hitting the 180 minutes mark for 100 questions, or I've given a mock test and you know what, I've got 85%, or I've got 95%, 90%, whatever, that's the time you're looking to crack your exam. How you build it up, that's up to you. But that's the time you're looking to crack the exam, not before that. So even in Chipra, in your case, I'm specifically speaking about you because you're looking to give the exams very quickly. You still have to have a plan for all this. Initially,
sir.
when you would have done part 2, you would have thought, you would have seen that you're not getting very accurate answers. Plus, you're taking more time than what is needed. But that will gradually change. Accuracy will keep on increasing. Timing will keep on decreasing the more you're into the system. Understand the Indian system. Say if on the first day they told you go ahead and give the exam, would you get 35? Would you get 70, 80? No, you wouldn't, right? It's only after that 1 year you got 70, 80, right? 1 year of whichever class it was, whether it was first standard or TY BCom, whatever it was. So here also you need to understand that you need to give yourself this 500 or 600 or maybe even 700 or 750 hours, depending on your background. And that is the time you're hitting the mark. Before that, if you try to jump the gun, well, you might be successful, but you may also not be successful. Fine. And generally, US exams involves a fair amount of money as well. It's not like Indian exams where you pay 2,000, 3,000 and you can give an exam. I'm talking about rupees for Indian exams, right? Indian or Gulf region, I'm sure will be also pretty reasonable. I'm not sure what are the charges there, but yeah. Guys, clear on this? So do not worry about these two things. These things will automatically take care of themselves the longer you're in the system. What is a multiple choice question? You have one question, you have 4 options, you have to choose the correct answer. So I'm sure you know this. Let's move forward. What is an essay? They give you 2 essays. Each will be on a different topic. Say one could be corporate finance, one could be ratios or whatever it is. I'm just randomly saying. What happens in an MCQ? You have 4 options. You're just ticking any one. What does that mean? If you know the answer and you've calculated the answer, yes, you have the right answer. You've ticked it. If you do not know, you're taking an educated guess. If you still are worse at that, you're just taking a guess. And if you have no clue what the question is asking, then like we've already always done, even as an infant, ina, mina, mina, mo. Make sense to all of y'all? Why? Because there's no negative marking. Guys, yes? Guys?
Yes, sir.
Right? So it's a very simple thing. If you know the answer, great. If you don't know the answer, ina, mina, mina, mo. That's what we are doing right from junior levels, right? Now, what they expect from you in the essay, say if there's a calculation, I'm just taking a very, very basic maths calculation. 4 numbers are there. Or let's take 5 numbers are there. What is the summation of this? Guys, summation. Guys, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you, but in between voice got got
Oh,
off.
really? Okay. Yeah. So what do we understand? What is the summation of this?
Just a second. 15.
Right? So what did you do? You just added all the 5 numbers and you take the correct answer, right? Guys, yes?
Yes, sir.
What happens in an essay is when now the US form of an essay is not the Indian form of an essay. The US form of an essay is different. How does it work in India? When they tell you write an essay, when we go for any exam in India, 3-hour exam, we are coming back writing around 36 to 40 pages in those 3 hours. Does that make sense to everyone? That is our goal. Fill the paper as much as possible so that we get our marks. Try to write at least 36 to 40 pages. That's not the expectation from the CMA exam. In an MCQ, what have you done? You've just tick the correct answer. You found the answer to be 15, you ticked it. In an essay, what you are doing is you are showing them that you did, say, for example, you did 1 plus 4 plus 5 plus 3 plus 2, and that is how you got 15. Does that make sense? So you're showing them the step-by-step calculation of what you did. That's all you're doing in an essay. Yes?
Yes.
sir.
Yeah.
Right? So it is not about writing, or rather in this case, typing pages and pages and pages. It's about just showing them what you need to show. In an MCQ, they do not know whether you did ina, mina, mina, mo, or you actually knew how it was calculated. Over here, they're trying to test you, and they basically give you, you have to show them step by step of what you've done. So you're writing 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 is equal to 15. In those essays, you'll get 2 essays on completely different topics. Approximately maybe 10 to 13 questions is what you'll get. So understand one thing, you're answering 10 to 13 questions in 1 hour. How many minutes per question? Around 3 minutes, guys.
Yeah, almost 4 to 5 minutes.
It won't be 4 to 5 minutes. It will be roughly around 3 to 3.5 minutes. Why I say that is, when you have an essay, there'll be a write-up as well before the, like before the actual questions. They can't just throw you 11, 13 questions, right? They'll have to give you some idea or some introduction of what it is. Like how when we started today, what did we do? We spoke about each other first, and then we are getting to CMA. And today is what? We are only doing what? Overall orientation of CMA. When we go back, next lecture, it will be actual curriculum. So what are we doing? We are introducing the thing slowly, right? So we'll have an intro. That will be a sizable paragraph as well. So you have to read that maybe once, maybe twice. Yes. So when you read that once or twice, what happens? That also takes you equal amount of time. And they could give you some other exhibits as well. So roughly you're getting around 3 minutes per question. 3 if you're lucky. They give you shorter essays, smaller essays, maybe 3.5 minutes per question. Okay. So in that 3.5 minutes, you have to be point to point. You have to be absolutely brief. Give them what they need and close it. Are you very, very clear? Because otherwise you're not finishing the paper.
Yeah, that's right.
Right?
Yeah.
So you have to, the goal is now, even if they ask you, I'm just taking a random example, and if you don't know what this is, forget about it. When we reach there, we'll understand it. If they ask you what is variable costing, give 2 advantages of variable costing. Even if you know 15 advantages, you stick to 2. Why? Because by writing 15, in India, we can write 15 and get away with it. They'll give you some marks at least. Over here, if you write more than 2, they're not bothered. They're giving you marks for 2 only. Does that make sense to you? So you need to write 2. Yes, if you finish your paper, remember essays is the last thing that you're doing. If you finish your paper and you want to be a little bit ahead of the curve, you want to write a 3rd one or 4th one, you can go ahead. But finish all the 13 questions first. 10, 12, 13, whatever questions come, finish all those. Then you want to add on to any answer, you can feel free to add on. Does that make sense? Guys, yes, no?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. So in a nutshell, what is the goal of an essay? The goal of an essay is to understand whether you know how to calculate what you calculated, rather than just take a correct answer. If they ask you advantages or disadvantages or something like that, that's reasonable. It's a theory question. Okay, write the 2 advantages or write 2-3 lines of it. Whatever you can do in 3 to 3.5 minutes, maybe 4 minutes. If it's a theory one, that's about it. Is what you're going to write. Fine. This is the goal of the essay. Now, how is your parts designed? Your MCQs will be for 75% of the marks. Your essays will be 25% of the marks. So the 75% of the marks relates to these 100 MCQs. The 2 essays carry 25% of the marks. Are we clear? That is the total of 100%. Now, what is the passing rate? How much do you need to get to pass? The total in terms of marks will again be 500. You'll know that, right? Guys, your paper is out of 500. So
Yeah,
this
that's
becomes basically 375 and this becomes 125. Ignore the percentage sign. Right? And this is 500. What is the passing percentage? How much do you need to get to pass? Guys, no one? I'm surprised.
I believe it is 70%.
75%.
How much?
75%.
75%. Okay, anybody else?
70%, I believe it is. For MCQ.
70%. Anybody else?
MCQ.
For MCQ?
Yeah.
No, I think there's no percentage for MCQ as such.
Okay.
It's just an overall percentage. But yes, there's something else that I need to cover and that I'll cut off a little later. Yeah. Anybody else, please?
72%.
How much?
72%.
Yeah. So actually it is not 75 or 70. You have to get 72%. How does that work? You need to get a score of 360 out of 500, which works out to basically the 72%. Where? Oh, again the camera is gone or is it there? Guys,
Gone,
Yeah,
sir.
it's gone. Yeah, it's gone.
very strange. Okay. Now is it there? Guys, now it's there?
Yeah, you're there.
Cool. Yeah. So where were we? Is it on Excel? It's on Excel, right? For you guys. You need to get a score of 360. So which makes up your 70%. What's the highest score you can get? Probably 460. People have even got 480 or 490. 460. Some people have got even 480 or 490. Fine. Guys, yes.
So the once, like when we used to give the exam for any of the part,
Mhm.
the score comes then and there, or it takes time.
No, so yeah, very good question. So basically, there's two things that we need to discuss more on this MCQs and essays. Now, there's a particular cutoff for the MCQs. What is this cutoff of MCQs? If you do not score a particular amount of score on the MCQ level, remember this is 75%. Now, of course, some smart guys will ask me, hey, you know what? It's 72% that I need to get to pass the exam, and MCQs are 75%. Can I attempt only MCQs and come out of the exam? Any answers? I've got this question a lot. Any answers?
No, sir, I think both are equally important.
Sorry?
Both things, MCQ and essay, are important.
Yes, but see, you need to get 72%. MCQs are worth 75% of the weightage. Can you go ahead and give only MCQs and come out of the exam? Don't even try the essays. Doesn't matter. Can you do that? You can do that as per the IMA, but understand one thing, you're cutting things very, very fine. You have to be so accurate to get 72 out of 75% that it is virtually next to impossible. You'll have to be hitting the 480, 490 mark or something like that. You can do the math that you need, but you'll have to be hitting that kind of a mark in MCQs. Okay. So you have to do both MCQs and essays. And essays, there's no big deal in an essay. As you saw over here, is just how you calculate it is what you have to show in your essay. So if you know and you've calculated it correctly for MCQs, you can just show the calculation in a narrative form or in a step-by-step form. That's it. So it's not a big deal. Okay. So yes, you can go ahead and do only MCQs, but you're cutting it very, 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 very fine. Most likely you may not achieve what you're looking for. Now, there's one more rule that you'll need to know. If you're well below the pass rate, how much is essays worth? 125 marks. Guys, yes, 125 marks is worth the essays. Right? So if in your MCQs, you're scoring 235 or maybe even, I think the cutoff is something like 270. If you're, I don't know what the exact cutoff is. You can check maybe with Bulbul or something like that. But I'm just telling you a straight maths. Okay, 360 is basically what you need to get. If you're scoring so less in your MCQ section, okay, that you will never get the 360 marks by doing essay, the essay section will not even open up for you. Does that make sense? So say if you're getting a score of, let's take 190, for example, in your MCQ section, 190, let's take a score of 190 that you're getting in your MCQ section. If you add 125 to it, how much are you getting? Will you ever pass? Even if you're getting full marks, 100% in that, will you ever pass? Guys,
No, you cannot.
yeah, you cannot pass. So you have to understand that MCQs, while you can pass only by doing MCQs, your MCQs has to be at a particular level for you to even go to the essay section. I think that cutoff is something like 260 or 270. Because if you're scoring so less, see, MCQs would be easier than essays. You'll get that because obvious reasons, right? Even if you don't know an answer, you're taking an answer and coming out of it. But if in the MCQ section itself, you're scoring so less, then it's highly unlikely that you'll get 125 in your essay section. Right? So, or even like, close to full marks, or maybe even 100 or 115 or whatever. From your point of view, see, you don't need to bother about all these things, and don't get this into your head ki, oh, will the essay section open up, or will I be thrown out in 3 hours itself? Okay, don't get into all this. You do your job of studying hard. All these things will take care of itself. What I have done is I've just told you this now so that this does not come as a shock for some people. If they don't know, if they don't, somebody has not told them, it might come as a shock to them, 7 days before the exam, and then they'll keep thinking about this only. Right? So do not bother about these things. You are giving an exam. Remember, to give the CMA exam, you've done some things correct in your life. Like what past first to 10th standard, BCom, whatever you guys have done. So there's some things that you guys have done right. This may be a step up, maybe a step equal, maybe a step little below for you. Is it not achievable? Absolutely not. It's achievable. But just know the rules. Does that make sense? Right. So I don't know for the other people who attended part 2 and all that. Did you know of this, Shipra, earlier?
Yes, sir told in
Told, huh?
class,
Yeah, very good. Very
but
good.
then yes, yeah,
But
but
then
deeply it was not informed. But in this class, it was deeply informed,
deeply, or okay, okay.
properly segregation and everything, like what and all would be there.
Acha, okay. See, different faculties have different ways of doing it. That's okay. That's cool. All right. So yeah. So net, if you're not up to a particular level, the essays will not open up. Should you really worry about it? If you've studied well, no. Okay. And a lot of people pass on the first attempt as well. So you don't need to worry about that so much. What we will cover in part 1, okay, or even part 2 for that matter, practical. So it's divided into 2 parts, or maybe even 3 if you want to call it, practical and theory. Now, practical, generally, I tend to cover everything. Theory, there are some things that have logic, and we will again cover everything. We are all Indians. Whenever memory power is in impact, we are very, very good at it. Right from first standard till our BComs, we've done that only, or graduation, if someone is non-BCom. We've done that itself. Memorize, and go ahead. So those things we will cover. And if there's no logic, then we'll tend to go a little faster than that. But that's how I pace myself. Okay. We've come to the end of this section at least. We can pop into part 1 and part 2 and just look at what we are going to do in the near future. But go ahead on your queries. Your queries on the orientation are even more important to me, because if you do not understand something, you're going to start on the wrong foot. If you see, you can see one thing I always tell my candidates, whichever lecture it is, you need to attend the orientation, and sometimes the orientation is even more important than your regular lectures. Why? Because although your regular lecture will give you the curriculum, your orientation tells you how to go about things. You can study like a crazy guy. You can study for 20 hours or 40 hours, whatever it is, a week or maybe even more than that. But if you don't know how to compartmentalize and don't know how to strategize and hit where you need to hit at the exam, I don't know whether you're passing. Does that
पढ़ने
make
का क्या
sense?
फायदा है?
क्या?
बट इतना चूतिया तो ना बनाए ना इंसान.
इतना? What? Hello? Guys, yeah, I don't know. Somebody spoke something. I couldn't. Yeah, guys. So did you all get that point? What I said? Guys, yes, no.
Yes, boss.
Okay. So knowing what it is, and so yeah, go ahead with any kind of queries that you'll have on this. So how to strategize, whatever comes in your mind. As I said, I've given you all the overall strategy in all of this. You need to make your individual plan. So the first thing I would tell you is try to chalk out your number of hours that you can give per week and get all this locked down. Yes, there will be variations. Sometimes you might not be able to give the 20 hours, or you might not be able to get what you need. Maybe in the next week you can make up. But in this next few days before the actual lecture starts, you would probably want to strategize all your number of hours and all that. You might not be able to strategize on everything that's here, but yes, on the number of hours, you can get that going. Guys, any kind of queries on this?
Mr. Roshan, I just wanted to clarify one thing. Actually, we are in Dubai currently, and we are fasting. So after 10-15 minutes, we'll have to break our fast. So
Achha.
I think I and Umayma might be leaving in 10 minutes.
That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Anyway, we can close 10 minutes early as well. That's not a big deal. That's not, I mean, I have covered what I needed to cover here. What is in part 1 and part 2 is more like, okay, we can just glance on this. What is covered in part 1? These are the sections that they have, A to F. External financial reporting decisions. Financial reporting, basically. Basically your financial statements. Planning and, so if you see here, it is down as well. What is this 15%? Any idea? 20%, etc.
It's 15% of the total course.
Total course, that will?
Yeah, the part 1, 15% is external finance, examination point of view.
Yes, from the examination point of view, this is how much they will ask you from this section. 15% is what they'll ask you from financial reporting, another 20% from budgeting, planning, and forecasting. Most of these are basically self-explanatory. What is performance management? It's basically your costing and all that. Cost management, again, that's costing. Internal controls, right? SOX Act, internal controls, etc. And crime and all that, that will come here for 15%. And then no course is complete without IT. So that's the information technology side of it. If you see here, financial statements for first one, planning and budgeting, strategic planning, forecasting, budgeting, annual profit, etc. Performance management, as I said, cost and variance measures, responsibility centers, cost management, costing systems, what are overhead, supply chain management, internal controls. And then you have technology and information systems. When you go to part 2, somebody was talking about corporate finance. Yes, that's section B. Financial statement analysis, like what? Ratios, etc. will come here. Corporate finance, what is your beta and long-term rates and all will be there. Decision analysis. Should I, like you all had a decision to make, right? Should you do CMA or not do CMA? Right? So like that, should you go ahead with the project or not go ahead with the project? Or should you sell or should you process further? All that. Risk management is simple risk management. Investment decisions, basically leading on to capital budgeting. And then no course is again complete without ethics. You need to be ethically correct in what you're doing. So yes, some portion of it will be ethics as well. If you look at the long form, it's saying the same thing. Statement analysis, ratios, etc. Corporate finance, risk and return, long-term financial management, working capital, decision analysis, CVP analysis. In India, it's normally called BEP analysis, break-even point. Marginal analysis, pricing decisions, risk management. Then you have capital budgeting decisions in investment decisions. And finally, you have your ethics. what you should do as an organization, what you should do as an individual. If things work, things don't work, and how you should report what you should report. So this is in a nutshell of what we needed to cover, at least for CMA. So here you have, this is what we done. I'm opening up for the question answer session. I thought we would generally have around 25 to 30 minutes, but some people need to leave early, and yeah, there were some questions earlier as well. So that was in a good way. So a couple of things, any questions, please ask. Any miscellaneous points that you have. I just want to know from you guys what timings work for you. Because we have a smaller batch, because if we had a larger batch, it would be difficult to cater to everyone rather. But since this, at least I don't know whether this is the strength, because some people tend to take orientation a little easy as well, which I don't recommend, because you know how what orientation was. If you don't have a strategy, well, you can study as much as you want, but you know how you need to know how to attack the exam when you need to. Because I've seen some people who like study like crazy even for months on end, and then when they actually give the exam, they tend to face problems, or they chicken out at that point. So you should be the reverse ideally. Fine. So guys, any question and answers, and then timings. So any question and answers, please. I can go back to my intro sheet. We can run through this. Anything that comes up. I can go up, down, wherever you want.
According to us, it seems to be clear. Everything is clear. So I don't find any queries about it. So it was basically the points are clear for me.
Okay, good. So, but the goal for you guys would also to, hopefully you'll have made some notes or whatever it is, because if you've already enrolled, then everything has started full steam. If you've just come for a demo, then that's okay. But otherwise, everything has started full steam. So hopefully you made some notes and all that, like not to bother about accuracy level, not to bother about timing. When I'm saying not to bother means, if you're just come into the system, yes, allow yourself some time to get used to the system. Then you can, once you're comfortable with the system, then you can go ahead and do that. Again, you need to prepare your 20 hours. In a nutshell, you need to prepare your 20 hours for the week. This 20 hours that we spoke about, you need to basically confirm your plan for the week as well, which is the same thing as the 20 hours. Yeah, this is more or less like it. Those are the main things. What is MCQs, essays? I'm sure you all will get that automatically as time goes by. Yeah, guys, is there anything else from either Shipra, Zuzar, Jayanti, Umayma, I think? Okay, Zuzar said no, Shipra said no, seriously, no queries at all? Nothing at all on CMA? Okay, good. If there's anything, I'll leave it open for a couple of minutes. If there's nothing, then probably we can close in about 5-7 minutes, as a couple of our friends also want to go a little early.
See, basically, what is it that currently what you have shown us, and now we are in the initial stage. So as far as what you have what you have put on these things, it is clear to us. Now, what further questions will be there that when we come up, when we go ahead.
That is curriculum wise. That's no, okay. That you can ask.
Yeah. Orientation wise, I believe that according to me, I am very much clear about it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Guys, anything else from the others? Shipra said no, Jayanti said no. Normally you do get some queries, huh? Of course, you all did ask queries earlier as well. Yeah, Jayanti, I think you or either Umayma was saying something.
It's all clear, just no queries at the moment.
No queries at the moment. Okay, cool. Jayanti, anything from your side?
So what is the timing of class?
Okay.
Sunday, Saturday?
Yeah, so we'll have to get back to you on that. But what are the timings you guys are available? You guys are okay with even evening classes?
No, basically morning is convenient. Sunday morning.
Sunday morning. So Sunday morning might not work for me. Saturday evening, how does that work? And of course, see, different people are of different wavelengths, even in this group, because the experience is quite wide in terms of some people are new in their career, some people are reasonably experienced. But see, I have handled CMA classes for 3 hours. I've taken CMA classes for 5 hours. I've also taken CMA classes for 8 or 10 hours. Now, how much of it can you all do? I mean, I think 5 hours is pretty reasonable, but again, that's up to the candidates, whether they can take 5 hours at one go. That is.
But what timing you suggest on evening basis?
No, you see, evening, if it's Monday to Friday, we cannot do it. I think you guys
No,
also
Monday,
in Dubai have.
weekend. Weekend only. We are having Saturday, Sunday weekend.
Yeah. So you guys also have Saturday, Sunday. So
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
looking at maybe a Saturday.
Saturday
I was
evening.
talking to VG a little while ago, maybe yesterday or day before, I can't remember when. But at that time, he was saying, like, why don't we have 2 days of the week as classes? So maybe one on a Wednesday or something like that, and one on a Saturday. So that gives them time a little bit in the middle as well. So again, see, it's a catch-22 for you guys, because what happens is the more amount of hours you have, from my side, you're finishing faster. Does that make sense? Once you're out of my this, 2 things happen. The onus is completely on you then to clear the exam. Does that make sense, what I said?
Yeah, that's right.
But what also happens is everything then comes in your control, which is even more important. If you study, you're giving the exams. If you don't study, you're out, or you'll take longer to give. So what I generally tell the students as well, if you're getting more number of hours, don't shy away from it, unless you're someone like who just cannot concentrate after 3 hours or 4 hours, which is very rare, because we are all Indians. So it's generally rare. I don't think we have any US crowd here, at least till now, or on this lecture at least. But yeah, so it's generally rare to see that from Indians. So Indians are normally even okay with even 5 hours, to be honest. But you all need to come up with something as to what you want. So maybe we can do either 6 hours a week, or maybe even 7 to 8 hours a week is what we are looking at. And then it's up to you to strategize your plan based on what we discussed today.
But what?
Sir, I think it would be better that you plan it according to your way. Like I
No, but
told.
see that, yes, that I'll have to do it by my way itself. But what I'm trying to understand is, do you all have any blocks? Like, say, Wednesday, some people cannot attend, or Saturday, some people cannot attend. Saturday, I think most likely we will definitely have a class. It's just a matter of how many hours it's going to be, whether it's going to be 3 hours or 5 hours. I mean, honestly, if we do 5 hours as well, we are basically roughly, you can do the math, we'll wrap up in a particular time. So the faster, if we do 8 hours, for example, we will wrap up faster.
See,
In terms
weekdays,
of per week or months that we'll need to take.
yeah, weekdays it will be difficult for us because of the time.
Yeah, you have a
difference is
time
there.
difference as well.
Yeah, and the thing is that we are working 5 days. So when we come from the offices about 8 hour year, so it will be like 9:30 in India.
Oh,
So
that
then,
late you come. Oh my God. Okay.
7:38.
But now I think they're leaving you early, right? I think you have only 5 hours of work or something now because
No,
of
that is
Ramadan.
finished now. This is finished. In Ramadan, it was there. Now it is finished. This week it will be finished then.
Yeah,
From
that I
tomorrow
know.
onward.
Yeah, that I'm aware.
So now it will be a normal working time. So if we leave, see, we leave office by 6:30, but we have a traffic situation over here, very
Oh,
serious.
there also? Okay.
Very serious. From office to reach our home, it takes 1.5 hours.
Oh my God. Okay.
So that's the reason we reach at 8 o'clock in the evening. So then it will be very difficult for us
So which
to
is our
also.
time 9:30.
Yeah.
Which is IST 9:30. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a
Yeah,
difficult one. Okay.
Mhm.
I think the other two are okay with any day of the week, right? Shipra, do I have the names right? Shipra and Jayanti, you're okay with any day of the week, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And Zuzar, just to understand your position, this happens for all the 5 days of the week, or any day of the week are you open?
No, all the 5 days we are having the same thing. No, because it's actually, I'll tell you one thing, 2 more people are also there from here only. I think they have not joined the orientation, but they
No,
will
I
be
know
also
that.
joining.
I know that. Okay.
So that's the reason we all were having the same thing, because we all leave office in the evening only. By 5:36, everybody leaves the office. So weekdays might be difficult for us.
No, got you. Okay, so you'll see. Let me, and y'all cannot take even one. I mean, if you'll go early to the office, they won't allow you to leave by maybe like what, 5-ish or something.
No, it is not possible.
Acha, there also it's the same way. It's like rather than working from 9 to 5, you're working from 5 to 9.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. I mean 16 hours, not 4 hours only. So
Everything.
okay. Okay, so let me see what I can do on that. Then maybe the only option is Saturday, and then we can't do 3 hours. We'll have to do 5 hours for sure.
Saturday, okay. Daytime, evening time, whatever it is there, we can accommodate.
Generally it will be evening. I mean afternoon, evening.
That's fine. No issues for that. I believe we can accommodate. That is okay. We have to accommodate. There is no other option for that.
Sure. Yeah. So okay. Okay, guys. Okay, so I'll keep that in mind. I'll talk to VG as well in 1 or 2 days, and let's see what we can come up. Anyway, this weekend there's nothing. So I think it's Eid also for some people. So enjoy your Eid, and yes, probably after that we'll get back to normal.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thanks.
Guys, anything else? I think I'm about to wrap up because a couple of our guys need to go early as well. So I'm about to wrap up. Guys, anything else? On any point, maybe struck you now, which was not, which didn't strike earlier. Okay, when we come on for the next lecture, I'm going to just show this as an introduction. I mean, as a maybe for 2 minutes or something like that. If you'll have any further queries, we can ask. But after that, after those 2 initial minutes or whatever it is, it's going to be curriculum only. Okay, y'all can always ask me questions on the intro lecture or the orientation lecture as well. That's not a problem. But from my side, it's only going to be curriculum. Fair, guys?
Yes. Excellent.
Okay, cool. With that being said, I don't think you'll have any questions. So let's wrap up for the day and we'll get back to you on what we need to do and how we need to go about it and your schedule and all everything. Fair? Guys,
Yeah.
yes, no?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
So hopefully you'll had a good time. All the very best. Enjoy your festival as well. And then let's get back when we need to get back. Okay.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
Hello. Take care. Yeah. Bye.